Hello everyone, I'm Mrs. Midnight, and now that we talked about the best side of Talbot Winger individually, prepare your coffee, tea, or whatever you're gonna drink for the gossip, because it's time for the dirty details, the darkest side of our favorite animagus in the game. The first thing that strikes me as a negative attribute of Talbot is that, although I understand that given his history he's not going to trust people easily, many times than not I feel that he goes to the other extreme of being suspicious without a reason, indiscriminately with everybody, including MC and their friends, that not only care about him but have also shown him more than once that they do not have double intentions. And the problem is that this is also reflected in very cynical attitudes like saying, I fly alone, I don't need friends. That's not only a great recipe for disaster if you actually do want friends and to connect with people, but also very harmful for the person that receives it.
You just don't learn, do you?
And although I can understand that with the classmates in Hogwarts that stigmatize him as the weirdo and gossip about him, he's of course going to be more reserved and distant, the fact that he does exactly the same with Penny and with MC that have bothered to get to know him and have shown him that they mean a true friendship can not only make them feel unappreciated and treated unfairly because he's suspecting them with no reason, but also if we add to all this that Talbot only lets them approach when he needs them for something, like with the animagus potion, even if it's not his intention, this can make it seem that his friendship with them is for convenience. His learned pessimism makes him isolate himself even when he needs support, and also causes him to close emotionally until he explodes and has no option but to spill the beans because they already got spilled for him. We can see this in the fact that he rejects MCs, pennies, and even professors like McGonagall's help, no matter how sincere the offer is, and no matter how much he needs it. He allows his depression for the absence of his parents, not only to isolate him, but also to make him neglect himself. We can notice this in the fact that he starts skipping classes, including transfigurations, despite being his favorite, and besides him actually caring about being a good student, but also in the fact that he stops to cultivate things that do him good personally and that could help him heal, like seeing his friends, his gatherings with McGonagall. And although I'm no one to judge him because I know for a fact that when you have depression it's easier said than done to do your things, don't stop living because you're depressed and what have you, I also know by experience that either you do it even if you don't want to, or depression can sink you even further and potentially damage your mental health in the long run. And the fact that Talbot, despite knowing that there are people that care about him that would be willing to be with him even if he doesn't feel his best, chooses to isolate himself instead, although does not make him a bad person or less valuable, it does show that he has a lot to heal if he wants to be not only a good friend or significant other, but also a good individual to himself.
Because I've lost control of my life.
All this plus his extreme preference for being alone, not only because he likes it, but also because he sees people as a threat, more than once causes MC to have to insist way too much, way more than reasonable, for Talbot to let them approach him, help him, and let alone how long Talbot takes to finally call you friend. And besides the fact that personally it gives me cringe, genuine cringe, the amount of times that MC has to insist that, come on, you wanna be friends, admit it, before Talbot lets them approach. Thing is that this makes Talbot get the worst side of MC by causing them to act needy, begging, and potentially almost harassing him just by trying to become friends. Honestly, the same as with Kiara, if the game didn't make you do this to advance in the story, to unlock the friendship, and to complete events, I personally wouldn't. Although I love his sarcastic nature, the problem with it is that it covers his insecurities, like thinking that he doesn't deserve friends or to be fancied by someone. And instead of being honest about these feelings, he covers them with comments that imply that he thinks that MC is dying to be with him all the time, that he lives to think of him only, and that Talbot would practically be doing MC a favor or honoring them by dedicating his time. And these plus other comments that he makes like, you do it very well for having friends when you play gobstones, even if he means it playfully and he doesn't mean an actual attack by it, can sound like he thinks he's better than others because he prefers to be alone. And although this is not a Talbot red flag per se, I also cringe a lot at the attitude MC takes towards all this because during playing gobstones, having lunch together, or drinking butterbeer, in more than one dialogue you can see that MC is trying to gain Talbot's trust by telling him things like, I also prefer to be alone, I would rather be alone in my room than in a big crowd, and what have you, and if this is real, great, they have a lot in common, but imagining that the player operating MC in this case is a social butterfly that loves partying seeing and socializing. Despite being ambivert and a little more on the introvert side myself, I still find it ugly that in order to trust a person, he would need them to be as introverted as him. Because if they are great, but if they are not, it's not only going to cause logistic problems like are we going or are we not going to this plan that we are invited to, but also it could potentially make MC feel that Talbot thinks he's better than them, because the time that MC uses for socializing, Talbot uses it for something else.
Well, maybe it is stupid, but it's also dumb.
Although his fear of the Death Eaters finding him is completely natural after what happened to his parents, and I would never ask him to not feel it, what I do think is that fear exerts a very high, unreasonably high control over Talbot's life, to the point of getting him to justify decisions that he knows are morally questionable, like keeping it a secret that he is an animagus. And he does this knowing that not only McGonagall opposes to it, but the reason why the Ministry of Magic penalizes people that do so is because of cases like Rita Skeeter that take advantage of their condition to spy on people, because no one knows that they are an animal. And even assuming that Talbot would never use his condition to do anything wrong, the fact that he keeps it a secret knowing that he shouldn't can easily be interpreted like he's keeping the door open in case he ever wants to. And actually fear sometimes brings the worst out of Talbot, getting him to think about doing things that are not only questionable, but directly despicable. Like when he thinks of doing Obliviate to Merula just to save his ass. I mean, I'm sorry, but as much as I would hate a friend of mine to be in that situation, I do not think that the possibility of someone telling on you on something that you shouldn't have done in the first place qualifies as a reason to cost them their memory. And although I think this is an isolated event and Talbot does not usually do things like this, the thing is that if he allows himself to keep justifying things like this with this type of reasoning that almost seems machiavellic, like the end justifies the means, as his significant other, as his friend, or as anyone close to him, I would be genuinely worried that he's gonna use that same logic to justify other things as well.
No! Well, yes.
If you like this video analyzing the dark side of Talbot, don't forget to leave me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and click on the bell so YouTube lets you know when I upload the result of the toxicometer and realometer, and we will see how healthy or toxic a relationship with him would be, or how feasible it would be for the MC or my character to pick Talbot as a date. For now, it's time to put the eagle aside 1 second to tell you that Mrs. Midnight loves you, hopes to see you next time, and hopes that you enjoyed this analysis of Talbot. Until very soon.